The Los Angeles Clippers are bad,
They're horrible.
which is
Uh,
so surprising.
I mean, when your best guard that you acquired calls himself the system, then it looks like the Harden system ain't working.
What is up, everybody? This is Zero Gravity, Apollo Media's NBA podcast presented by Blaze and Buddy Larry Mix by Zing Zang and The Celebrity Mint. Go follow them on social media. Go get the Blaze and Bloody Mary Mix from Zing Zang. But I am here with the GM of the Summit State of Mind, Apollo Media's Houston Rockets podcast, Justin.
What up?
How we
What
doing,
up,
big guy?
dude? We are good, man. I mean, the Rockets are 5-3, so we're in great shape.
Who
So
would have thunk?
no complaints, dude. I mean, don't even ask me. I'm apparently I'm the negative Nancy of all the people, so
Oh,
I'm the realistic version, But 5-3, I'm gonna take, dude. I'll take it all day.
before the season started, if
Mhm.
I were to tell you that your Houston Rockets would be fourth in the West before Sunday's game started, we're recording this Sunday, November 12th at 5:39 p.m. right now. They would be fourth in the West, and the Dallas Mavericks would be second in the West. Would you believe me?
I would say no,
No,
frankly. I mean, as a Rockets fan, we didn't anticipate the way that this whole team would play this early, but
absolutely.
yeah.
But yeah, so if you need Rockets content, go over to the Summit State of Mind. It's Apollo Media's Houston Rockets podcast. They've got YouTube, they've got Apple, Spotify, any place that you can find it. Go hit them up on social media as well. But the Summit State of Mind is your fix for Rockets content. But before we get into our first topic, let's talk a little bit about Zing Zang. Zing Zang's Blazing Bloody Mary mix. It's getting cold outside. It's a bit chilly this weekend. If you need Bloody Mary, why don't you spice it up? Make it a little spicy, a little tang, a little
Play some
blazing.
Spice Girls with there. Spice up your
Yeah.
life.
So Blazing Bloody Mary mix from Zing Zang. It can come in a mix, and it come in the pre-made bottle. It's already got vodka in it. All you got to do is add your bacon, your celery, whatever you add to your personalized Bloody Mary. Go get the Blazing Bloody Mary mix from Zing Zang. Zang responsibly. Don't go too crazy, but we zang responsibly with the Apollo Media, and it's been going crazy over at the office with all those Zing Zangs Bloody Marys mix that we got.
That Bloody Mary, man, I cannot do it. It's not my thing, but I respect those people that do enjoy it. Hey, man, that's big brunch hours for sure.
For sure. But if you're not in a Bloody Mary mix, you can always go get their other products. They've got whiskey sours. Dex was talking to us about that. They've got margaritas. They've got
Yes.
pretty much anything under the sun. Go
Hmm.
check out Zing Zang. Zang responsibly. This person seemed to not zing responsibly. The
Let's
person that
go.
we're going to get
Let's
into.
go there.
I'm going to read the tweet. I have to read the tweet. Came from Shams Sharanya. Happened today, Sunday. Or did it happen yesterday? I can't remember.
I
Maybe
think
it
it
was
was
yesterday.
yesterday.
More
Yeah.
stuff is coming out today. So it happened
Mhm.
Saturday. So Sunday, 76ers guard and forward Kelly Oubre Jr. sustained broken ribs and an assortment of bruises and cuts on his body after being struck by a car in Philadelphia on Saturday night. He avoided significant injuries, but will miss significant time. Uh, it was a hit and run. The
Mhm.
car was going high speed in a pedestrian walkway in a residential area on Saturday night, and it fled the scene. Oubre has broken ribs and injuries to his hip and right leg.
It sounds like a hit. Like,
Legitimately.
yeah, it sounds like someone sought out where Kelly Oubre lives and was like, "We're taking this man down."
It's honestly insane because there was a tweet and people found the receipt very easily. Nothing
Mhm.
dies on the internet, so just keep that in mind when you tweet responsibly with Zing Zang. Obviously,
There you go.
um, nothing dies on the internet. Someone tweeted out they had either a parlay or prize picks or whatever it may be. Kelly Oubre can't score more than 11 points. I hope he gets hit by a car. That was a quote, direct quote from somebody that deleted a tweet, but there was someone that screenshotted it. He did get hit by a car, so I hope that person feels tremendously horrible, just awful.
Someone took manifestation to another level, honestly. Like, I can't even imagine saying something like that and it happening. the responsibility that you have to accept, brother. That is,
There's
I don't know.
it's just people say a lot of ridiculous things about players in sports,
Hmm.
like professional athletes. They get angry, they threaten. It's like semi-pro. Will Ferrell's like, "I'll burn your house down. I'll
Essentially,
kill
yeah,
your family." Those
yeah.
kinds of things.
Hmm.
That happens just far too much on the internet. Um, I'm with Big Cat from Barstool. Barstool Big Cat. He has been on this train for a long time now, a few years. He has said that every year, every athlete should be able to fight a fan in the stands just once. But they should be able to pick their fight whenever it may choose without harm. They can't go to jail. They can't get
Hmm.
fined for it. They can't get technical fouls. No, nothing. They get to fight the one fan in the stands because that fan talks too much shit. And
I
I'm
would pay for it.
totally there.
Oh, absolutely. I would pay ticket for that, honestly.
Absolutely.
Hmm. I mean, it's like hockey. Like, can you
Yeah.
imagine like basketball players like with fans? Like they like the whistle blows and it's like, okay, you get 2 minutes. Go for it.
Yeah.
Knock your heads off.
And the refs are like they stand in when they need to. They're like, all right, this
Exactly.
fight's over. Like this person's not fighting anymore. They're just defending themselves. Let's
Hmm.
break it up. You go to the box, and by the box you mean you get to leave this game because you chose to fight this guy. And now you can't come back the rest of the season. That should be the next wrinkle. The fan can't come back for the rest of the season.
That's fair. I mean, it's
If
just
you get
like,
in a fight, you're gone.
oh yeah. I feel like Philly fans, like
Oh,
that area would be empty by the end of the year.
Philly,
Someone,
Boston.
uh-huh,
That's probably it.
just the little
Maybe a little
angry
bit of New
cities.
York. Yeah, New York maybe too.
New York's definitely up there for sure.
Yeah, it'd
Mhm.
be gruff. Pittsburgh would have some fun as well. But yeah, it's just like I don't know how someone is that crazy in a residential area. I know it happens all the time, but
Mhm.
obviously a 6'8" large man, you would think you'd see that guy walking across the street.
I know. I'm curious to know what time of day that this occurred. Like,
Yeah,
if this is happening at like 10 o'clock in the evening, dude, drive
that's one
responsibility.
thing.
That's a
Right.
whole other level. But if this is happening during the day, like let's say at 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and you're like going 80 down a residential area, yeah, you got no excuses, brother. That's manslaughter, right?
Right.
is that what we call it? I mean, this
It
man
is.
deserves to be
It's
in jail.
vehicular attempted manslaughter, I guess, is what
Yeah,
it would technically be.
if we're considering verbiage or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
So Adrian Wojnarowski tweeted out at 21:04, so 9:04 Central Standard Time,
Mhm.
God's time zone. So it probably happened around
Yeah.
8 p.m. ish, which
Mhm.
it's been dark at like 4:30.
Yeah,
It's
true.
awful. It's
Mhm.
awful. That's shout out daylight savings time. Let's get rid of you
Dude, I'm
forever.
over it. Like, I don't wanna feel like
Forever.
I should be in bed by 6:30 in the evening, okay?
No,
Yeah, not the world I
no,
want. No.
absolutely not. But Kelly Oubre, rest up, get healthy. Hate that this happened to you because I don't want this to happen to any NBA player. I
Yeah,
would never tweet that out. I would
no.
never be the guy that said I want you to get hit by a car. Hope that guy feels terrible. Kelly Oubre, I hope you do recover quickly because you have been playing very well for a Sixers team that we didn't know how they were going to look without James Harden.
Mhm.
And Kelly Oubre has actually stepped up and been arguably the third best player on that team ahead
Yeah.
of Tobias Harris.
Mhm.
So it's a shame that it happened to him, and hope he gets healthy very soon.
Yeah, we needed Kelly. Poor guy. That's all I gotta say. Like, I can't even imagine how he's feeling. Uh, we don't even know how long he's gonna be out for, is he? Like, we have no
It just
clue.
said significant time. It's not season ending, but
It's
significant time.
possible. It could
Yeah,
definitely go that route, but poor
I hope
guy, man.
his face is okay too. He's pretty. He's a handsome man.
That's very fair. Good for you, Kelly. You can be voted sexiest man in the NBA. I mean, some players might have an issue with that, but I'll gladly concede.
Yeah. Um, we're gonna get into biggest surprises and
Mhm.
biggest disappointments. Before we do that, I would like to give a shout out to Celebrity Men. Zero Gravity, our Apollo's NBA podcast, is brought to you by The Celebrity Mint. They've got these awesome gold and silver tokens that you can get of Mike Tyson, Ric Flair. Woo! They've got a lot of other people on deck. They're about to start pushing out some stuff. It's memorabilia tokens made out of gold, silver, and other precious metals. They're super sick. They came out in October at Comic Con in New York City, but go follow them on social media at The Celebrity Mint. they've they've become a good friend of ours. We like the celebrity mint.
Can we give a woo for Celebrity Mint? For the Ric
Woo!
Flair. Woo!
There it is.
There you go.
Um, so biggest surprises. Let's get the good stuff out of the way.
Hmm.
We mentioned it all right on the top of the podcast. We're talking about the Houston Rockets and the Dallas Mavericks. Those are two that have really stood out to me, and
Hmm.
it is because we live in Texas, and it is because we cover these teams more so than others. But I mean, no one saw the Rockets winning 5 games in a row at probably any point this season. I mean, maybe late
Definitely
in the
not.
season,
Definitely
but
not.
Fred VanVleet, Dylan Brooks, all these additions that they've added, and then Ime Udoka establishing a culture that
You're getting there. You can get it
promotes
out. You can
defense.
get it out.
It promotes defense.
Yeah. Hmm.
So defense and team ball, and something that the Rockets have not seen, and they're what top 10 in defensive ratings and all that kind of stuff right
Something like
now.
that. I think they're eighth in defensive rating. They're number one in terms of what is it? Transition defense.
Damn!
Yeah, they went. I think they've probably like taken down their points, given up a game to under double digits. So
Wow!
it's a little intense considering the team that we did watch last year under Steven Silas. But credit to Ime. Call it Ime culture. That thing is really moving, and you could see it based on the veterans that are on the roster currently, like you stated, Dylan Brooks, Fred VanVleet, to name a couple.
Right,
Jeff Green is another one who is I would consider a piece of why Alperen Şengün is performing the way he's performing. He played alongside Nikola Jokic last year, and he got to kind of see him, up close and personal for a season. Now he gets to go with baby Jokic, who people consider Şengün to be. That
sure,
might be a bit of an overstatement. I'm not on that train. That's a lot of pressure to put on a young man.
right.
Not the thing to do. But, the way that it's moving forward, like you can see the efforts there for everybody in terms of the defensive end. Some of these guys obviously are trying to break bad habits, but going forward after 8 games, like this isn't the type of transition I was expecting. I expected it to happen
No,
a little bit later, but hey, man,
if it
give the
works, it
flowers
works.
where they're due, right?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
you've added the veteran presence that was much needed in that locker room because
Hmm.
I watched no more than 3 Rockets games last season.
Fair. I wouldn't.
I,
I don't blame you.
I tried at the beginning of the season a couple of times, and then at the end of the season, I gave it one more shot. Jalen Green, Alperen Şengün, I was just watching them, and I was like, they have so much talent, but I hate everything that they do, pretty much. Just like I hated watching that team play basketball last year. And Jabari Smith Jr.
Hmm.
didn't really get going until later in the season. He was a rookie last year, but that's okay. Like he
Yeah.
can take his time, but you just really didn't see anything that he was able to do at Auburn in the
Hmm.
previous season.
Yeah.
So to see them actually perform and play well in pressure situations, they just kind of killed the Kings twice, back to back games. And no De'Aaron Fox, obviously, but
Yeah.
still killed them. Like it wasn't a close game. In the NBA, you can have close games
Hmm.
night in and night out. So the Rockets being good is a nice surprise, especially for you boys and Apollo as a whole, as a Houston company. But
Absolutely.
they're definitely in the biggest surprise category. We'll move up to Dallas now and go up I-45. The Dallas Mavericks, they added Grant Williams. They re-signed Kyrie Irving, drafted Derek Lively. They basically just gutted the whole team except for Kyrie, Luca, and Tim Hardaway Jr.
Hmm. Hmm.
Everyone else seems to be fairly new. Josh Green's still there, Maxi Kleba, whatever, some pieces, but Grant Williams coming in and just taking over the Jalen Brunson role, I think, as the vocal leader in the locker room.
Hmm.
And he's also a defensive anchor. He can guard 1 through 4, sometimes 1 through 5. And then adding Derek Lively Jr. or the second. Derek Lively has been a godsend, and I love him dearly.
Kudos to you and Grant Williams. I'm not gonna lie, big Grant Williams guy. The man's hitting over 50% from three. So
Yes,
this is on 6 attempts a game, and y'all have
it's
played what 9 games? That's unheard
yeah,
of. It's kind of crazy if you ask me. It kind of gives credit to the gravity that Luca and Kyrie carry in terms of the
right.
openings that he is getting. But Derek Lively Jr., man, I mean, you said it. He was a guy that was highly coveted by Rockets fans in terms of possible trade up, if we were to trade up from where we drafted Cam Whitmore. But I mean, y'all got a great pickup there because he was your lottery pick, right?
Yeah, so the
Hmm.
Mavericks had the 10th pick due to tanking the last 2 games of the season, which still seems to be a controversy for no reason at all whatsoever because no other team has ever tanked in the NBA. No, not a one. We did it for 2 games, and it's the worst thing of all time because Luka wasn't healthy, Kyrie
Mhm.
wasn't healthy, and they're like,
Yeah.
let's just get the 10th pick and call it a day."
So you guys are
Whatever.
the reason why they decided to do the whole injury thing. It's not Damian
So
Lillard. It's not the Lillard thing. It's
no,
Luka and Kyrie sitting out the last 2
it's
games.
not Kawhi Leonard or Paul George or
Not at
LeBron
all.
James, Anthony Davis. I don't know. What do you want me to say?
Insert
But
every superstar that's above the age
right,
of 30. Yeah.
it's the San Antonio Spurs rule, really.
Mhm. Yeah.
Started with Tim Duncan and all them. But yeah, they trade the 10th pick, go back to 12, and they still pick Derek Lively. I thought they were going to take Cam Whitmore, and I was like, ooh, a wing. That's good. Let's do that. And then they traded down. I was like, what are we doing? He's right there. And then no one took him. And I was like, oh, we still can get him. And we got rid of Davis Bertans. Like, this was awesome. We still get the guy. And then we took Derek Lively. I was like, okay. I mean, all right. It's a Duke guy. I'm a Duke guy. So I'm like, I could
Fair.
talk myself into this. And he's a center that plays defense. And that's something that the Dallas Mavericks have needed for since Luka's been in the league, really. They
Mhm.
haven't had a rim running defensive presence in the paint as a center. And
Mhm.
that's why I was really excited to get Clint Capella this offseason. I thought that trade was going to happen forever, and it never did.
Mhm.
So Derek Lively just being good right off the bat has been a godsend for this team, and Luca loves him. Luca just adores him. You can see him on the court.
Yeah.
He starts laughing when he does a pick and roll, and then just like, all right,
Gosh.
I've got a 7-foot center that can jump higher than most people on the court, and I'm just going to throw it up there because I know he's going to catch it and dunk it. Like, this is awesome. Like, he's having fun out there,
Mhm.
and that's all you could have asked for as a Dallas Mavericks fan, basing what you watched last year of this team, where no
Mhm.
one was having fun, not a
Yeah.
person, not a one. Someone tweeted out a graphic when the lineup came out in like April or March last season. It was Luca at point guard, Frank Ntilikina at shooting guard. Um, I think it was Reggie Bullock at the 3,
Jeez.
Josh Green at the 4,
Mhm.
and couldn't even tell you. Oh no, it was our friend Dwight Powell, who I love dearly, but Dwight Powell was starting center, and everyone's like, who expects Luca to carry this team to the playoffs? Please show me that one team
Mhm.
that can do that. No one could.
No, definitely not. I mean, that's like when Harden was having to carry like certain rosters was like 2015,
Yeah,
2016. Outside of
absolutely.
like a Dwight Howard who was the shell of himself. But yeah, I mean, hey, Luca's putting up MVP numbers. When you have this kind of roster around him, especially with the likes of like a Grant Williams and Derek Lively, like these are two game changers. Grant Williams played for a team that went to the NBA Finals, playoff games on playoff games on playoff games, hit clutch shots after clutch shots. He's built for it, yeah. And then Derek Lively, you got the Clint Capella mold that you guys have been craving for so long. Oh, but the thing is, he's cheaper, he's younger, he's probably a little bit more athletic. So Luca's got everything that he needs now. He's got a number 2 piece, Kyrie, until he finds, he's only shooting 43% right now, but he'll get there. So
He
averaging
did,
21 points a game.
I think he just went like 7 of 9 or 7 of 10 from 3 the last game on Saturday night
Holy
or
hell.
Friday night.
Yeah.
So he's starting to find his shot and he's having fun. You could see him on the court smiling. He's like, he went in the press conference and put his hands together like in a prayer motion, like thank you. The 3 started finally just
Yeah.
falling. So yeah, they're hitting a groove. And the last team I wanted to get into on biggest surprises is the Minnesota Timberwolves. I didn't see this one coming.
Me neither, honestly. I mean, Anthony Edwards has put himself into like the upper echelon of players
Yeah,
in this league.
and I thought that was going to happen this season. I really did.
Is it year 4 for him, right? It's year 4 because he was drafted.
2020, he was a COVID draft, right?
I don't remember anymore.
I think he was the COVID draft. I think,
Hmm.
yeah, 2020, 21, 22, 23. Yeah.
Yeah.
So 4. Um, I think a lot of people were on this train after the FIBA World Championships this past summer. I think a lot of people were looking towards an Anthony Edwards just surge towards the top of NBA players. And
Mhm.
everyone could kind of see it last year. He's a dog. Like, he plays hard.
He plays a
He's
certain
fun to
way.
watch. Yeah, he's
Absolutely.
fun to watch. And the problem with the Timberwolves is that they have Rudy Gobert on their team, which count me out. And then they also have Carl Anthony Towns on their team.
Who is a
Also count me out.
huge trade piece that people have been talking about all summer and still talking about now.
Yes. Yeah. So it was an interesting trade when they made the Gobert trade,
Mhm.
and no one thought it was going to work. And last year it didn't. It just didn't. It never worked, and it always looked clunky. Anthony Edwards was like, "Yeah, it's hard to dunk the ball when I have 2 7 feet guys in the paint
Hmm.
on offense." So I didn't know how it was going to work, but it worked. It did. It's starting to work at least. Karl Anthony Towns is not playing very good basketball, but Rudy Gobert has like already put himself at the top of the Defensive Player of the Year conversation again. He's
Yeah,
all the way back up there. His numbers are nuts.
yeah, it's insane to see what he's been doing currently. It's one of those things where it's kind of like where it hit like a resurgence.
Hmm.
Sometimes it just says you just got to have your year where it's like you play like shit and you're kind of adjusting.
Yeah,
Leaving Utah, going to Minnesota takes a lot out of you. I mean, what was it? They were they in the they were in the play-in last year? Yeah, I don't
yeah.
remember anymore, man.
The Timberwolves lost to the Nuggets, and Karl Anthony Towns and Patrick Beverly basically said that that was like the best basketball anyone's ever played in the history of basketball, and they got swept or they
Yeah.
lost in five, whatever it was. Like
Mhm.
it wasn't even competitive, really. Like
No,
they played
no,
okay, and then the Nuggets would pull away in the last 6 minutes. Like it would just
the
it wasn't
usual.
really
It's
competitive.
just like a scrappy team that they play hard, they work hard, but they just don't have the talent to overcome. I mean, this
Yeah,
year Anthony Edwards, this is where he kind of puts himself into the MVP conversation this year, especially if they keep playing this way. But I really think that this year it's Luca's to lose. Frankly, if the team just keeps winning, it's going to be Luca's. I think it's
yeah.
going to be his year.
It's got to happen eventually, right? Like he's
Yeah.
far too good, and like Embiid got his.
Yep.
Jokic already has a couple.
Hmm.
Giannis has a couple, if
Hmm.
not more. Harden's not going to be in it.
God
Uh,
no.
LeBron and Steph are probably not going to be in it. So it's like, who are you going to give it to?
Yeah.
It's got it's got to happen eventually. If it's not
Hmm.
this year, then I don't know if it'll ever happen. I feel like it'll never happen if
I
he
mean,
doesn't get it this
if
year.
they're a top three seed this year, it's going to happen. I really think that it's going to be between them. Barring like some form of like Jason Tatum like going off
Yeah,
for the rest of the year. But
he could get there too.
mhm.
But those are the biggest surprises: Houston Rockets, Dallas Mavericks, Minnesota Timberwolves. I know they're all West teams, but the East sucks, and I don't care. So let's talk about an East team, eh?
Very fair, very fair.
Biggest disappointments: Milwaukee Bucks. You trade for Damian Lillard and gave up Drew Holiday because you were needing offense. Well,
Hmm.
buddy, I've got a surprise for you. You didn't get offense, and now you lost defense. So now you suck on both sides of the ball. It's the craziest thing.
Yeah,
It
it's
doesn't make
bit.
any sense.
Yeah, I mean, what is it? There was one of those games where Dame had to literally save him in the fourth quarter. He had to go off
Yeah.
just for them to have a chance to win. Um, I was stating when they made the trade, I was like, I'm not saying they're giving up too much, but it's mostly like Drew Holiday was a huge piece in terms of like what made this team go. And Dame does not bring that on the defensive end. That's just not his
No.
game. He's an offensive stalwart. That's what he does, but you're not making up anything from the perimeter. Who's going to be your lockdown guy? Pat Connaughton?
Gross. That's so gross. Um, yeah. But
I had
like
to go there.
The Giannis Dame Lillard pick and roll, people have been like imagining it, foaming at the mouth as soon as that trade went through. They're like, "Oh my god, this is going to be unstoppable. They're going to run it 60 times a game, and
Mhm.
it would be incredible. It would work. A lot of the time, it would work because either Giannis is open running towards the rim, or Dame Lillard's behind the 3 point line waiting on just a catch and shoot three.
Yeah.
Recipe for success. They don't ever do it. They just don't do it. Run it like 40 times this season. You should run it 40 times a game.
Yeah,
Anytime they're on the field or on the court, you should be doing it every time they're on the court together, at least once.
I mean, come on. Like rookie head coach Adrian Griffin. I mean, my man
Oh,
got Terry Stotts kicked
brother.
out. Like, I don't know what's going on. That was just a bad omen to start. If your assistant coach quits like at the end of the preseason before the regular season, something is
Yeah.
wrong with your team. And with that, with Dame Lillard, that's his former coach. You think he's brought there to kind of help Dame in that transition going from Portland to Milwaukee. There's egos. I don't think there's going to be an issue in terms of like Giannis and Dame personality wise, but I think when it comes
No.
to personnel for them, they're in a lot more trouble than they think.
Yeah.
Honestly,
I
yeah.
think they are, I could be wrong on this metric, but like 29th in rebounding this season. And they were like top
What?
five. I think they were like top five. It could be the wrong stat. They're 29th in something,
Uh huh.
some kind of metric, whatever it may be. and
I
they've been
mean,
top 5 in it for the last how many ever seasons? Just forever. They've been in the top 5.
they
And they're
brought back Brooke.
29
They brought back Brooke. You
for
know,
a good amount of money, right?
yeah,
Over 20 million.
they're 29th in rebounding, 28th in assists,
Hmm.
and 25th in opponents' points per game. They're
Really
10th in
makes you think.
scoring, but they can score. But the defensive end might not be your thing, guys. I mean, it it's a struggle. And the thing about defense is that when it comes to teams, like it's either you're all in, you're all out. Maybe it's I don't know if it's a personnel issue or a team leader issue, quote unquote. I mean, Giannis is a potential defensive player of the year, yeah, like just by who he is.
Correct.
But is he going to carry the defense in that way? Based on what you see, it just doesn't seem like there's enough firepower in that realm, But who am I to say? Who am I to say?
Ah,
They have two
you know.
superstars who are supposed to carry, one from Adidas, one from Nike. This is where Captain Planet's shoe powers combine and build the super team, So
You would think.
we would all safely assume, but maybe we're wrong. No.
Yeah, no, it's because you look at the Dallas Mavericks, we've already just said they were
hmm
biggest surprise. Luca and Kyrie, two players that you don't think play defense,
hmm
have been playing some of the best guard defense in the NBA this season. Like they're legitimately just playing very good defense. And then Giannis doesn't look good on defense now, and
hmm
Dame just refuses to play defense. So it's a
I don't
very
recall a time when Dame ever did play defense. So
no, he never once
Mhm.
has. So yeah, the Bucks are a huge disappointment. Another one, which this game just concluded. So the Memphis Grizzlies played the Los Angeles Clippers. They are both on this list. They're the last two teams we'll discuss here. Let's get into Memphis first. Let's go ahead and knock them out. They
Mhm.
are missing Tyus Jones, Dylan Brooks, and John Morant
Mhm.
due to suspension. They are now 10 games into the season at 2-8 after defeating the Los Angeles Clippers towards the end of the game there, 105 to 100, I think, or 101.
Yeah, 105, 101.
Yeah, so the Grizzlies they've just been down in the dumps this season. Marcus
Mhm.
Smart is the just perfect guy for Memphis. Grit and grind to his core. Like he just fits. If he's not a Celtic, he's a Grizzly. Like in my
Mhm.
head, if you told me who Marcus Smart was and described all of his attributes, all of his antics, all the things that makes Marcus Smart, I was like, all right, he's a Boston Celtic, and you're like, no, he's not. I'm like, okay, well then he's a Memphis Grizzly. Those are
It's
the
true. I
only
mean,
two scenarios.
he is cut from the Tony Allen cloth. I don't know. I don't remember how much of a flopper Tony Allen was, but we're definitely
Yeah,
going to call out Marcus Smart there. I mean,
yeah.
did you see was it the last game? Was their coach their coach's name? I forgot his name, but he was on the presser calling out the refs. I think it was like a
Oh,
29-13 differential in free throws, and he was like, "My team works hard." And if it wasn't for the fourth quarter where people were just getting sloppy fouled, it was like 29-7. And I was like, "Yo, this is getting real." And I mean, I get it as a coach, you're fighting for your team, but also your number one player, can't stop doing dumb things on the internet
yeah,
like a
not great.
normal young
Like
human
like the
being.
kid that tweeted about Kelly Oubre getting hit by a car.
Exactly. We put them in the same bracket. You
Yeah,
know, I mean, Dylan Brooks is gone. Tyus Jones is gone, who's probably their most efficient player on that roster last year.
yeah,
So, there's just a lot of changes. I mean, what is it? Desmond Bane's averaging 26 points a game with on 22 shots a game.
yeah. That's the issue. Like
hmm
you see 26 points, you're like, okay, he's filling in for Jaw. Like he's scoring more, he's taking more shots.
Yep.
That makes sense. When you see the 22 shots, you're like, oh, well, that's not good. I'd
Yeah.
rather him not do that. You know?
That's I call that Cade Cunningham efficiency right
Oh
there.
boy,
I
yeah.
went there.
Whew. Oh boy, he just taking strays. We weren't even going to talk about the Pistons, but yeah, the Grizzlies they're 2-8 now, so they got to
hmm
win. They are now 15 games away from getting John Morant back. Let's see if they can tread water. I don't think they can.
They're gonna get a top pick at this year's draft. And
That would
then
be
John Morant probably
disturbing.
won't even find himself until like game 40, 45.
John Morant, you are a Houston Rocket. Um, the
I'm
Los
not
Angeles,
opposed to it, guys.
the Los Angeles Clippers. This is the last team we'll get into. Biggest disappointment the fourth quarter today, Sunday night against the Grizzlies.
hmm
With a minute and a half left to tie it. Like we're like, oh, okay, here come the Clippers, and the Grizzlies are dead. Like it's over. We're not coming back from this. 1-9, no thanks. But the Clippers somehow mess it up. I was getting ready for the podcast, so I didn't catch the end of the game. But when you have Kawhi Leonard Paul George, James Harden. Like you should be pretty good. And if Russell Westbrook's your fourth guy, you're like,
Hmm.
okay, yeah, we can get around on this. Like this is good. This is a good thing.
Hmm.
And putting in a system with James Harden takes time when the other players I've never played with someone that plays like James Harden. That's the issue.
Very true.
Well, Paul George has played with Russell Westbrook, so they're kind of similar, but in a way, Russell
Touche.
Westbrook and James Harden are always tied together. Will always be tied together. It is the nature of this story of James Harden. He will always be tied to Russell Westbrook, and the same for Russell Westbrook. He will always be tied to James Harden.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Clippers suck. They are what 3-6 now.
Oh my God, they're terrible. Let me see. Yeah, they're 3-6. Yeah,
Yeah,
they're completely underwhelming. That team, you anticipated that they would be just so much better, especially with Teron Lue as the coach. There's expectations. The guy carries himself in a certain way, and the way his expectations of the players. I don't know. Paul George, I mean, what he's been okay. Kawhi
he's
Leonard,
been fine.
Kawhi Leonard has played all games, which is I'm not gonna lie, I'm shocked. We're 8 games into the year, and he has played every single game. Like, is that a
Didn't see that
record?
coming.
Is that a record?
Yeah, it might be.
I don't know.
Might be.
I mean, it they just look disjointed. Russell Westbrook is their starting point guard. Like, no offense to Russ. I mean, as much as I was never the biggest fan of him in Oklahoma City. He was a Rocket. Rooted for him. I feel bad because of all the talk that goes his way because he's a great guy and he tries hard on the floor. But hey, brother, I'm sorry, but you stink. Like this is it's just what it is. You're old, and unfortunately, that's what's going down. The whole team is old. Like who's their youngest player? Terrence Mann, the guy that they didn't want to trade because he is quote unquote their future. I don't even know what to think
Yeah,
anymore. Like, dude, I don't know. It's bad. It's not good. And you would think that there would be some form of what is it called, like progress with their team. I haven't really
maybe.
seen anything,
No,
frankly.
like last season when they got Russell Westbrook, it was the best thing for them because they
Hmm.
needed somebody to just like take charge in the minutes that one of the other superstars is off the floor and just like carry the ball up the court. Just
Hmm.
get it to the next guy, bring some energy, be a vocal leader because neither Paul George or Kawhi Leonard seemed to be like that kind of guy.
Hmm.
So Russell Westbrook was the perfect model for that. And then you just added James Harden to it, and I feel like that was a bad idea to bring him into it when you already had like a lesser player. Like James Harden averaged 20 and 10 last season. I'm not going to say Russell Westbrook is
That guy.
at James Harden's caliber when you can do those kinds of things, but Russell Westbrook was exactly what the Clippers needed. They just needed like a shooting guard and a backup center. Like they didn't
Hmm.
need to go get James Harden. Sure,
Yeah.
that raises your floor technically, but if you can't ever figure out how to play, like we saw with the LeBron Heat teams, like it
Hmm.
took them a full season under their belt before they actually learned how to play together, and they had to change everything that they did.
Exactly. I
It
mean,
you can't do that.
like James Harden coming into a team where you have a Kawhi who has won a championship, but also probably the quietest guy in the league, not according to his teammates, but based on what we all see. Um, James, I think his expectations are to be the man. Like I don't. He says that he knows his role, but do we really believe him? That's the thing. Like that's just not it.
No, I will never believe what James
Yeah,
Harden says.
this man is God. He's a habitual liar, and he was our guy. Like
He was
people
for a
stuck
long
up for
time.
him, and I stuck up for him. But I'm gonna tell you this right now. I will count my stars every day that Ime Udoka is our coach because James Harden heard that he
Didn't
wasn't going to be the guy, and it wasn't going to be his system played in Houston. So
right.
thank God we're 5-3 and they're 3-5. So hey, I'll take that positive. Hey
And
now.
this is a little bit of an overreaction. We're 2.5 weeks into the season, almost three
Mhm.
weeks into the season. Like this doesn't matter necessarily. We're almost 10 games in the year, so an eighth of the season.
We're literally 10% into the year. Like
Anything can
there's.
happen.
Mhm.
It's still November, December. Like basketball doesn't really start till Christmas anyway, so you
Mhm.
could be really bad and then turn everything around. And Christmas time, New
Mhm.
Year, trade deadline, anything can happen. So if we talked about your team and you hated what we said, take it to heart. Make sure that you run with it on the internet and yell at us as much as possible.
Yeah, you can say that, if I were to call the Clippers a play-in team and they don't, and they actually are top 6, then hey, man, that's on me. But you know
It
what?
is what it is.
They're going to be a play-in team this year. I'm telling you that right now.
I like it. I like it. Because we're taking 2 spots. You know, the Rockets, the Mavericks, they got to take the 2 spots up there. So,
Exactly.
and it's going to be tough after that.
Hmm.
That's the biggest disappointments. This has been Zero Gravity, Apollo Media's NBA podcast presented by Zing Zang's Blazing Bloody Mary Mix and The Celebrity Mint. We're going to move this up to twice a week now. So this is going to come out on Monday,
2 times.
and then we'll have another episodes on Thursdays. So moving this up, we're going to have a rotating guest. I've been with Justin tonight. Go check out their Rocket stuff, the Summit State of Mind. Go check out apollohou.store. You can see the 30th anniversary Vernon Maxwell shirt that we got up there that Justin has. Check it out. 30th anniversary of the Rockets championship in
That's
the
this year.
90s.
That is this
It
year.
is.
Yeah.
It is. So
Been a
that's in the
long time.
apollohou.store. Follow us on social medias at ApolloHOU. Hit that subscribe button on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcasts. Hit the like button, comment, and yell at Justin for no particular reason at all. Just yell at him for comments' sake, you know? But this has been Zero Gravity, Apollo Media's NBA podcast. We will see you Thursday morning.
Peace. Cool.